Good morning. Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Hope it was good. Hope the family was good. Hope the food turned out well. And I hope you didn't eat a dry turkey. So, my Thanksgiving was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Everybody comes over to my house. I always cook the turkey just because I am tired of going places and eating dry turkey. I don't know if you guys can relate, but anyhow. So when I was younger, my parents were Splitsville. Some other stuff was happening, and so it was like I always had to go to like 2 or 3 different places to do Thanksgiving, and I hated that, and even when I grew, got a little bit older, and got married, I'd go to the, have to go to the wife's dad's house and mom's house, stuff like that, and it's like, look, I just want to be one place, have everybody come over, have a good time, and then kick it back. So I decided probably about 10 years ago or so that I was just gonna cook the turkey myself and make it happen. So I like to cook the turkey old school style, and by that I mean I just take it, rinse it off, clean it, pat it down, rub it with butter, throw like an apple or something in the tin, maybe an orange, and stuff it up, cover it, throw it in about 1 in the morning, let it roll for about 10 hours at 275, and it always comes out moist, super moist. So I usually take probably about 6 hours in, 7 hours in, I'll take and I'll baste it a little bit a couple times, but that's about it. I just let it roll and it always comes out good. So how do you guys cook your turkey? I'm curious about that. So I know a lot of people fry them, a lot of people do smoke them, they do all kinds of stuff. So let me know what your method is and what way you've tried and what way has come out best for you. So if you're new here, welcome. My name's Dave. This is Dick's 4x4 Garage. We make wheeling videos and garage videos of old Chevy trucks and doing work on kind of whatever, but it's pretty much stays 4x4 related, wheeling related. So rolling into work, I kind of really wanted to talk a little bit today about trail etiquette, or kind of how you get into wheeling and the kind of things you should look for. But and if it's important to you, because it's important to me. So when I'm out crawling over rocks, some of the stuff that we run, it's pretty, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough stuff. And so when you're out there on the trail, you want to be with people who can, who can help you out, or who's willing to help you out, or who wants to help you out. And you don't want to be on the trail with people who are just complete idiots and want to booze it up and do all kinds of stuff like that. So a couple things that I think is pretty important when you try to start getting into the crawling. I think what you should do is you should definitely know how to operate your vehicle, whether that's a manual or automatic. When you get, start crawling, the right gear, stuff like that. So you should really know your vehicle, know how to drive it, know how to keep things smooth. And so I think that that's the best advice that I can give you, is just learn how to keep your vehicle smooth all the time. And then, that way when you're listening to people, if you already know how to drive your vehicle, then when somebody says driver or passenger or, whatever it may be, you know how to be smooth about that, and you don't have to think about, hey, how do I drive, you know what I mean? So I think that that's pretty important. So once you kind of get driving your rig, appropriate, I think you should probably find some trails that are maybe a little bit challenging, but still within your comfort level, because you always want to be comfortable when you're out. You don't want to rush things. You just, you want to have a good time. And so I think the best thing would be to find somebody, maybe you have a friend who's doing it, or maybe you can just find like a Facebook group or some other kind of group that's out there doing it, and just kind of explore the waters a little bit, get to know some people. Go out with the group once or twice, see if they're the right group for you. Fortunately, in my case, there used to be a site called like meetup.com. I don't even know if it's still around, but I hooked up with this group and met this guy named Chad, and he had a badass rig, and he was a pretty good spotter. Actually, he's a good spotter, great spotter actually. And so I started going out with him a little bit. We were doing some lighter stuff, stuff that was appropriate for my vehicle at the time. And then he, as I kind of got it a little bit better to where I could, do more things with it that I felt more comfortable with, he hooked me up with the club that I'm in now, which is War Machine 702. So I've been wheeling with these guys since about 2013. And, for me, it was just a good fit. And so what I mean by a good fit is that, you know, when I'm, like I said, when I'm out there on the trail, like I don't want to be around people who are drunk. I don't want to be around people who are spotting me who are drunk. I want to be out with people who know how to recover a vehicle, people who can spot you up an obstacle, people that aren't going to leave you behind. And that's pretty much what's most important, because when you're out there, you know, anything could go wrong. You could break an axle, you could, you know, anything can happen when you're out on the trail. And you got to have people who have a head, you know, a good head on their shoulders to help you out, especially when you're just getting started. Because, you know, if you've never winched before, or you've never, you know, been in a situation like that, you know, you need people who are calm and cool, can hook up to you know, orchestrate things and make it happen. And so that's why having a good trail leader is so important when you're out there. So, you know, you gotta be out with somebody who can command the respect, and who you have people around you that know what they're doing. And so, like, I would caution you guys, like, if you're just going out for the first time, you know, and it's a new group and people don't really know what they're doing, I wouldn't do anything like super crazy. I would just test the waters out, try to get to know good people who are experienced, before you even go and do any of this stuff. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, you know, today on the way to work. And just I don't know, we'll see how this video comes out. But anyways, yeah, so that's kind of really what I wanted to talk about. You know, find a good group of people. You're putting your rig through, you know, especially mine. It's like, you know, some of these trails that we run, you know, I'm in a freaking $55,000 vehicle, and I don't need people just leave me out on the trail. You know, I need people who are honest too, because when you're trying to do something, now obviously there's the peer pressure factor, and when I'm out with my group, you know, we kind of have this, I don't know, it's kind of like a family thing, it's a bond. And so, like, we kind of all know what everybody's capable of. And so, you know, we'll put some peer pressure on somebody, like, hey man, you got to do this, you know, but we know it's not out of their capabilities or beyond their capability level. And when you're first starting this, you know, you want to be out with people that are not peer pressuring you, people that'll give you, you know, the good advice that you need. Because sometimes there'll be a trail run, or there'll be this or that, you know, and you ask, you know, I'll ask the guy who runs the club or somebody who's leading the run, hey man, do you think my Jeep can do it? And they'll be honest and be like, hey, this is what's probably going to happen. You know, you can go, but you might get some body damage, or you might, you know, this or that, or whatever it may be. And so, you know, up front going in, hey, this isn't the trail for me, and you shouldn't even try it. So I would say a couple things. First, know your rig, know how to operate it, know how to put it in 4-wheel drive, know how to put it in low, just figure out what your best crawling setup is when you're going out on the rocks. 2, you want to find some good people. Definitely find a nice group in your area. If you don't have friends that are doing it, find a good group. You know, try 2 or 3, 4 different groups until you find the one that you fit with. You know, like me, like I like this group so much. Everybody's like family, that I actually have, you know, the logo, big old logo across my windshield, and I wear it with pride because, you know, like I said, these guys are like family to me. And I never ever feel like I'm in any kind of danger on the trail. I never feel uncomfortable on the trail, and I think that that's pretty important. I think it's real important, actually. All right, and then number 3 would be to make sure, you know, you don't get peer pressured into doing things. Make sure, you know, do the things that you're comfortable with. Don't ever try something that you don't want to try, that somebody's, you know, trying to make you do. You don't want any kind of that when you're out doing the stuff that we're doing. And I would caution you also on big events. You know, a lot of the spotting is good, but not all of it is great. And so when you're out there and doing this kind of stuff, you want to have it a slow and controlled environment. And when you have all the stuff going on around you, and you have people who, let's just say, are an okay spotter, but they're not a great spotter, it's kind of a potential for having some issues. Because when you're out there, like, you do not, one of the things you do not want to do, and this is what I do, and it's kind of kept me and my vehicle kind of safe and in order and not all wrecked up is I go at my own pace, which is slow. It's called rock crawling. If you want to do rock bouncing, it's a different genre, totally different thing. But rock crawling is crawling. It's not lurching. It's not any of that. It's just straight up. You want to crawl. You want to be slow. You want to be smooth, and that's what I do. Like, I crawl as slow as I can, and to make sure that I'm not damaging my vehicle. I know where my differentials are at. I know where all that low-hanging stuff up underneath my vehicle is, shock mount, stuff like that. And I position my vehicle over rocks because I know where that stuff's at, and that's how I keep from getting hung up. And then even if you know where that stuff's at, you're still gonna get hung up. Stuff's still gonna happen. You're still gonna rub rail. All that stuff just happens. But when I'm on an obstacle, let's say, you got a big obstacle coming up, something that you got to do. When I get there, it's my time on that obstacle. I don't rush it. I kind of tune everything out other than me and my spotter. If you're on a trail and 2 or 3 different people are trying to give you directions, just stop them and just say, hey, I want one spotter. Maybe have somebody watching your back and somebody watching your front, but you only want to take directions from one person. And so that should be the most qualified person on the trail leader, whoever. Don't listen to all this stuff going on around you. Just focus on one person, and that'll keep you in the game. But yeah, so if you're on an obstacle, if you can't make it, don't sit there and just eat up everybody's time on a trail. I mean, unless you're out there all day and everybody's cool with it. But don't eat up an obstacle. But if you're working the obstacle and you're gonna get it, but it's just gonna take a different line, or it's gonna take this or that, slow down, be cool, and I think you'll have a better time doing that than if you're trying to rush things and and any of that stuff. Anyway, so. All right, guys, so I just wanted to talk about that today, kind of off the top of my head because, I don't know. I just kind of think that stuff's important, and it's really important to me when I'm out on the trail. Like, I want to be around good people. I don't want any kind of drama. I don't want any of that. I just want to be able to go and enjoy myself, crawl over rocks, bring my family, know that they're in a safe environment, and that's what's important to me. I'm not young. I don't want to be out with guys boozing it up and being stupid crazy on the trail and, like doing stuff to where, they're probably going to break their rig. Now, I don't like any of that stuff. When I go out, these people, we have this connection, and, I don't even have to ask for a spotter. Like, if it's coming up on an obstacle, if I'm leading a trail, I'll be on that obstacle spotting. If, somebody else from the club's leading the trail, they're just there spotting, or they know my vehicle enough to know that I don't need a spot. But if I get hung up, there's people there, and it all works out. So yeah, so if you're lucky enough to find a group of people like that to go out and have a good time with and use your vehicle and be safe about it, then I think that you guys have hit a home run. So hopefully you guys can find that if you're out crawling. You guys have a good one. We'll talk with you soon. Tell me about your turkey, how you cook it, down in the comments below. All right, guys, you take it easy. Have a good one.